What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another edition of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? Good to be here. Getting ready for another week, so we want you guys to like, subscribe, and comment. If you're already subscribed, give us a share. It definitely helps us out. And then, most importantly, get in the comment section. We want to know your thoughts on this. We're going to run through everything from injury reports to predictions. So get in on it. Let us know what you think, and we'll get right into it.
Absolutely, man. And as always, we'll go through the boring stuff. 2-6 Titans versus 5-3 Chargers. We're at SoFi Stadium. Let's see. It's on Fox this week again, as you mentioned last week. It's 4-3 Central. They're favored by 7 points, and the over/under is at 38.5 points, which I take the over on that.
Ooh.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I'd take the under on that one. I think it's going to be so. You're looking at the Titans. They're number 5 in time of possession right now. Chargers are sitting there at 11. Both teams are a pretty run-first offense. I think both teams are going to try to eat up a lot of clock, keep these other opposing offenses off the field. And, yeah, I see this as a pretty low-scoring game. So if it were me, I kind of like the under. 38.5 is pretty low, but I still like the under on that one.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from on that with the God, what is his name? Damn it. The new coach. I can't think of his name.
Harbaugh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brain fart there for some reason. Sorry, folks. Don't know why. But, yeah, Harbaugh, I mean, he's very variable-esque. So, totally see totally see him being, slow play, run-first offense. They definitely are a run-first offense. He's got Hubert playing at a decent level. He's more managing the game than doing his crazy deep ball stuff that he used to do. So I don't know. Yeah, but I can see why you would say you would take the under on that. As far as some of the other crap, injuries, see, Nick Vanette, Julius Chestnut, Tony Pollard, Tyler Boyd, Amani Hooker, and Dylan Radins are all questionable. They all had limited participation. Spears, Levis, Ridley, and Avery all had full participation. And Edwards, our new safety, also had full participation. And Simmons was limited, but it's just rest, man. They're just trying to give him as much rest as possible before the game. So I don't expect him to be out. Although Snead is out again. Damn it.
Yep.
It's really all I have to say about that.
Yeah. not surprising there for Snead. Some good news off that. I did see where Awuzie is probably going to be back at practice within the next couple weeks, so that's something to look forward to at that position, I suppose. It'd be interesting if they can get both of those guys back. Snead and Awuzie kind of have them playing together. Might be something kind of to look forward to for next year if they can both get on track. But we'll see what happens. And then as far as the other guys, I fully expect Will Levis to be the starter. I think Tajay Spears gets involved. I mean, Tony Pollard's had a great last couple weeks. I mean, a great season to this point so far. So I think I kind of talked about that a little last week. Just kind of curious to see how they get Spears involved, how much they split that workload with clearly Pollard being the hot hand right now. So that's something I'm going to be looking for. But I do expect some touches for Spears, and it'll be really interesting to see how quick he can get things going.
Yeah, that's a nice way to segue into her. Spears is back. Full participation practice today, so I fully expect him to go 100%. And it couldn't be at a better time because we really need to kind of give Tony Pollard a little bit of a rest. I don't know if that means less snaps or if that just means, more rest in the practice sessions. But either way, Tony Pollard definitely needs to get some rest, so it's a good time for Spears to be back, ready for some football action. So I'm pretty happy about that. So as far as the Chargers injuries go, the only ones that stuck out to me was Denzel Perryman. He's their linebacker. All their linebackers are basically sack machines. Khalil Mack and Christian Fulton all did not participate and all are questionable for the game.
Yeah, their punter was on there too, J.K. Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could turn into something a little interesting. I mean, if this does turn into a field position battle, especially if he's not 100% healthy, maybe the Titans can finally have some kind of breakthrough on special teams. So that's at least something positive to look for. But I just happened across that. I haven't paid much attention. Do you know? Is there word on that you're aware of as far as the injury or what's going on?
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as him playing or whatever, not really. It did say that he was non-participant in practice today, so he was another did not participate. So yeah, I mean, if we're following the trend there, probably a good chance anyway that he's not going to be 100% for the game, even if he is out there.
Yeah, that might be key. That might be something to look forward to because I mean, look, we've obviously had issues on special teams, and Jaquan Jackson with the 2 fumbles last week, but he's also a guy that if he can get to the next level and he can kind of get some speed behind him, I still think Jaquan Jackson's a threat. I had a kind of a bold prediction that he would at least take one to the house this year. So who knows? Maybe this is the game.
It would be sweet, man. We are getting a little bit of a change on special teams. Colt Anderson come out and talked about it a little bit. Said they were better this week.
I mean, you couldn't be worse, right?
I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, you're better in the sense that you didn't give up 2 touchdowns. But damn it, if that's the bar we're trying to set for ourselves,
good gracious,
it's like we're playing limbo. Anyway. He did say some changes were coming. Justin Hardy and Bryce Oliver are going to be the new gunners for this game. Yep. And I feel like that's actually a really positive change. I think it's probably smart. I don't know. It depends on how great Bryce Oliver is at tackling, but sure is a big dude and he runs really fast. So seems like the right kind of move. Interested to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, I'm curious. Obviously, Justin Hardy's a new face. He's kind of a veteran at this thing. He's been doing it. He's gone to a Pro Bowl for special teams. Bryce Oliver, kind of curious to see how that works out. I mean, obviously there was a reason he wasn't utilized earlier. So, he's now getting a shot just because other guys have screwed up, basically. But that's the way it goes. I mean, it's next man up. You earn your job. So curious to see how he comes out and performs. I mean, that's became a pretty important position for this Titans team. So hopefully they can get some things figured out. But definitely excited for Hardy. I think he's think he's a solid player. I mean, that's what he was brought here for, is the special teams. So we'll see how that works out. But I've got pretty high hopes for that one.
I agree. I'm also excited about Bryce Oliver because just simply that he's going to be active for the game. Maybe he gets a couple wide receiver reps. Not really, but whatever. I don't know. I think he only played like 1.2% of the reps last week. It seems to be a common theme with Brian Callahan that if you're a rookie or a first-time starter, not going to get much playing time. At least not in your first game. Maybe in the second game. So we'll see how that plays out.
I mean, let's not forget who this guy is either. I mean, he came out, had a pretty spectacular preseason. I think it kind of earned him a spot on this team. Had a really good connection with Malik Willis. I mean, they were dotting people up through the preseason. That was something I was kind of excited to explore before Willis was traded. But yeah, I mean, I he's shown what he can do. Now we just want to see it. If he does get his chance, we just want to see it against top level talent in these regular season games. But I mean, he's given me no reason not to trust him yet. It's so I'm going to go with that, and until I see otherwise, I wouldn't hate to see him get a few reps at wide receiver, because at this point, why not? I mean, that's what the season's about, right?
Exactly. Yep. You bring up something that made me giggle this weekend. When I got back from the game, I always borrow my mother-in-law's car because I drive a piece of crap 99 Frontier that's manual. And to be honest, if it gets to 80 miles an hour, you're at like 445 RPM. That's not good. So anyway, I borrow her car. I was dropping it off after I got home from the game, and my father-in-law was talking my ear off about the game that he had just watched. If you follow me, my father-in-law is a Green Bay Packers fan, hardcore. And the wildest thing, man, he said that he was upset with Green Bay. And I think it's at halftime. It might have been game's over. I don't know. But he was upset that they had not started Malik Willis after Jordan Love struggled. Which I couldn't believe my father-in-law was saying, because my father-in-law is a really old school dude, man. He's one of those like hardcore Republicans, loves Jesus, guns, most of the Tennessee good old boy stuff. Mm-hmm. But he is like really committed to people. Like, he was really upset when Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay, and I was like, dude, that's just how the NFL works nowadays. Mm-hmm. You don't do that Brett Favre stuff anymore. And Brett Favre did that to you too. So what are you upset about? So I just found it odd that he was rooting for Malik Willis. And I even said it to him. I was like, man, look, I'll be honest with you. Malik Willis and Jordan Love, you put them in the same. I don't think there's any question who's more talented and who's got the better football IQ. Has Malik Willis, got y'all some wins? Yeah. But against which teams? And which team did they play last week? I mean, it's almost like I had to talk some sense into my father-in-law, which was insane, because he's one of those dudes I go to, for advice and stuff like that. But I guess for football advice, he needed me that night. But
yeah, well, I think part of it too. I mean, Jordan Love came into this game. I think he was pretty much questionable throughout the whole week, and then kind of gets thrown in there. And he definitely struggled the first half. But I mean, he's still 23 of 39, 273, one interception. But I mean, he averaged 7 yards per completion. So part of that, I mean, it's 17-3 at halftime. Part of that might be, well, if he is kind of struggling, how much do we want to continue to put him out there and not let Willis come in and see what he can do? So, yeah, I mean, I could kind of get it from that angle. But like you said, I mean, Love he's the guy. He's the starter. Willis he did a great job getting them through that stretch where Love was unable to go. But, I mean, in an NFL game like that, you got to go with your guy. They're not in a situation like the Titans or like the Colts where their backup is definitively better than the starter. I mean, they're not in that position.
No. All right, so bad segue, because I meant to do this on the injury, but whatever. I'm still learning at this segue stuff. And besides, I mean, really, my podcast is about you guys and the fact that I am real. And Link is real. We are real people. We're real fans. And we're talking to you like we're just having a football conversation. There's no real show to it or whatever. But anyway, the hell was Kristen Fulton on this week? I mean, did he sprinkle some Miracle Grow on his balls or something? I don't understand what he was doing with the comments that he was making about the Titans not being. I mean, yes, I'll agree with him in the fact that the Titans are not a winning organization right now. But how do you say this in the pretext when you're on the Chargers team who hasn't been to the Super Bowl since 95? He's talking shit because we haven't been there since 2000. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, can you make that make sense for me?
No, not really. I think some guys just need a little extra motivation, and he obviously feels snuffed by the Titans, which I mean, he kind of was, but he wasn't playing good football, and he was released. I mean, that's the way the NFL works. So, he's a guy who's arguably playing the best that he's played up to this point in his career,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean that's not saying a lot, but he's having some good games. He's strung some consistency together, but yeah, I mean
Yep.
the extra talking and stuff. I know guys like Jeffrey Simmons are kind of known as the smack talkers during the games, but you don't hear a lot of Titans, coming out pregame and saying stuff in the media. Obviously, he felt that that's something he needed to do to get hyped up, and then it just makes it all that much more hilarious when you show up on the injury report with the same injury you dealt with the Titans. So, he obviously hasn't come that far along.
Yes, and thank you, Michael, because this is exactly what I was going to say. I really hope that he ends up burnt toast on Sunday, because that is exactly what he was for the Titans organization. He was constantly getting toasted by good wide receivers. He was injury prone, and to be honest, he didn't have the best character. I mean, at first he looked like he was going to be a good character guy, but then I don't know if he just got fed up with the organization or if he just got fed up with the fact that he was sidelined all the time, but it was mostly by injury. I don't know. I don't know why he got disheartened, but when he did, he turned into a bad character guy, and it was pretty obvious. And this just makes him look worse, in my opinion. So keep jawing, Fulton, and I hope that you play. It looks like that you're so injury prone that you're actually not going to play in this game. So I hope that you play, and I hope that you do get burnt. If not on the scoreboard, at least, we can look back and go, look right here where Ridley just completely toasted it. But
yeah, and that's the thing to me. It's like, if you were a player of a little bit higher caliber, like I get it, but you can't even stay on the field. Like that was the whole issue in Tennessee. We thought the guy had talent. I mean, I sat here show after
yeah,
show and said I know the talent's there. He's just not available. I mean, it's the same thing with Traylon Burks. It's the same exact thing. He's just not available. He never has time to get consistent because he can't stay on the football field. So for somebody like that to be talking, I mean, I guess whatever you got to do to hype yourself up, but yeah, just a little unnecessary when you are the textbook definition of injury prone. That's my issue with it.
yeah. Stick around, guys. I know it's early in the show. This might actually be shorter than I meant to, but whatever. But stick around. You got a 40-second ad. We'll be right back. We got more to talk about. Will Levis, new safety, bold predictions, all that crap. So stick around. What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals will work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right. Boom! I told you it was quick.
Over under on Mayo commercials this week.
Oh, I like 3 number, but yeah, I'll say 3 because it looks like Levis is going to start again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go strong on this one. I'm gonna say 4 to 5. I'll do over under
Ooh.
4.5. Yeah, I think he's starting. He's back in. I expect
We're
some
gonna
moments
have
of
to figure
Mayo.
out some way of betting each other, without monetary, obviously, because I'm poor as hell. But we'll have to figure out something on this on the side of how we're gonna do
Yeah,
this.
loser has to say 3 good things about Will Levis. I can't
There
think of
you
much
go.
more punishment than that.
That would take some time out of my day to do some research. That's for sure. Um, so we kind of hinted on it earlier, but new safety in town. Don't really expect huge splashes this week, but the guy, if he can, again, this is one of those guys that seems to be injury prone, but if he can stay healthy, he does produce well. He did produce well last year, but that was his problem with Buffalo, is that he couldn't stay healthy. So what's your thoughts on Mike Edwards?
Cautiously optimistic, I would say. I mean, I think with Amani Hooker being back there, that's going to help anybody. I think he's playing at a pretty high level right now. So it's tough to replace. It's tough to replace Diggs, but I think he can come in. He's going to get an opportunity. Just curious to see, because again, that's one of those positions where you really have to gel. You have to know your spots. You have to know where you're supposed to be. Curious to see how quick he can get up to speed. I don't think this is a very complicated defense. It's kind of just every man do their job, stay in your lane, stay in your gap. So don't expect a lot of exotic stuff from it this week. But just to see him come in, get comfortable, take a few snaps, kind of get in rhythm with Hooker when he's given the opportunity. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But going to be interesting this week because without him being super implemented, I don't know how they're going to work that. I mean, maybe they bring in an extra corner on some play. I don't know. It's going to
I
be.
feel like
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh no,
curious.
you're fine. I feel like Mike Brown is going to obviously get some more playing time. He did
Okay.
well in the last game that he came in last week. He actually did pretty darn well. Had pretty good coverage. I did see him get toasted once, so that's not great. But that was in film afterwards. It wasn't in live action. So for the
Right.
most part, he passed the eye test, and for the most part, he did really well, especially for someone of his status, I guess, or station in the game.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, look, everybody's gonna get burnt here and there. I mean, it's gonna happen, especially
NFL.
especially against some of these teams that they've been playing with the air raid offenses. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. But yeah, you're right. I could see that. But it's just more guys getting opportunities, more guys trying to punch their ticket for next year. Because again, that's what the season is about. See what you got on this roster, see who you want moving forward, and I expect. Obviously, I expect Diggs to be back here next season. So hopefully he can kind of keep the same upward trajectory he's had to this point when he does make it back.
Yeah, something else I want to talk about. Will Levis. I hate I hate to, but it is the white elephant in the room, so let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Will Levis probably going to come back this week. Looks healthy. Um, if he does not play this week, that is a very big telling sign that either A, there's two possibilities if he doesn't play this week. A is the coach secretly does not want him to start, and to save face, he's telling him to tell everybody that he's injured. Uh, the second and more probable outcome is that he is telling the coach that he's not 100% and that he can't go because he is scared that he cannot play good. I mean, that's pretty much the end of it. He cannot play to a point where he is good. And I feel like he's worried about that. And if either one of those are even remotely true, there's a huge issue we have to address with that.
Yeah, and I'll preface by saying I do think he plays. I do think he starts. But on that, I mean, you didn't play good when you were healthy. I mean, that's been the issue. And then I think part of this was just I do think that there's definitely an injury there, but I think a lot of it was also to just say, hey, let's take a step back. Let's sit on the sidelines. Let's watch how this offense is supposed to operate with a veteran who's done this before, and then when you're 100%, we'll come back in and see what you've been able to learn, see what you've been able to gain. And I mean that's a good way to judge an NFL quarterback is when they're benched or when they're injured, how are they able to bounce back? So we'll see. Obviously, I don't have a lot of faith in him at this point, just because he hasn't given me a reason to show that there's anything there. But we'll see. I mean, I've been wrong before, and I hope I'm wrong on this one. But we'll see. But I do think he starts. I do think he plays. I think he maybe they open up the
Yeah.
playbook a little bit. That's going to be what I'm looking for. Is if he is in there, how much do they trust him? How much trust do they put in him early in this game?
Look, man, if I'm Callahan, and I feel like he is a very intelligent, very football smart coach, so I feel like he sees the same things I do. Will Levis has splash plays, both good and bad. You have to figure out how to rein in some of those bad splash plays and extend or make more of the good splash plays. I know that sounds like a simplified version of what needs to happen. I mean, it sounds easy, but it's not. I mean, you have to completely change your tendencies and all that crap. And like I said, he is making the mistakes that you don't. My point is, as the optimist, I think to myself, oh, well, he's had some time on the bench. He's been watching Mason Rudolph, manage the game and do a great job of that. If he can manage the game better and manage his mistakes better, he could be a much better quarterback in the NFL. And hopefully he sees that. However, the realist in me just sees the same cocky chip on his shoulder quarterback in all the interviews that we saw today in practice, chomping at the bit to get back in the game. I mean, I'm sure he's excited to get back. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. The point I'm trying to make here is, did he learn anything while he was on the bench? And if that's a no, that's another huge problem we have right now. Because every time you get to look at the game through someone else's eyes or look at something in retrospect, you should be able to reflect and look at your choice. I don't know about you, man, but like every night, not every single night, but most nights when I go to bed, I try to think about, did I do anything stupid today? Is there a better way I could have handled this situation? Because I'm a manager of people. Is there something that I could have done better with my daughter because I want to be the best dad I can possibly be? You ask these questions while you're laying there at night. And Will Levis should be asking these same questions about his football game while he's sitting on the bench watching Rudolph. That's all I'm saying. Are you looking at the small, minute details that you can make better to make your whole picture better?
Yeah, I agree, and that's definitely what he should do. But this is the same guy who also said he doesn't lose sleep over bad games and bad plays. So, I don't know. I don't know how to judge him or take him right now, because I see a lot of the same things that were a knock on him coming out of college in Kentucky.
Yep.
Every bad draft analysis, you're now seeing that. You're seeing the turnovers, the hero ball, the not being able to not necessarily control his emotions, but not having like
Yeah.
a middle ground. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's so up or it's so down. And that was a knock on him coming to the NFL, and I haven't seen him be able to fix those things yet. And that's what I'm looking for as a second year quarterback. If you want to be the face of a franchise, you have to be able to adapt, you have to be able to adjust, you have to be able to mature, and you have to be able to play good football. And I haven't seen any of those things this year. Granted, there are 9 games left. Maybe that changes. Maybe he changes my opinion. But again, until I see otherwise, I've really got no reason to trust him. Now, that being said, I do think you have to start him, going forward, just because the season's look, we're not making some kind of crazy playoff push. I don't want to say the season's lost because there are still things to look for, but you have to kind of, adjust your goals for this season. And we go back to figuring out if he's the guy, which right now I think it's a pretty resounding no. But you have to at least see, because either way, whether you're drafting a quarterback, whether you're going to free agency for a quarterback, whether you're staying with Levis, you have to find a way to move forward. And the first thing that starts with is seeing what's left in the tank for this guy.
Yeah, and you touched on it right there. I mean, we've said it a million times in the off season. We resounded to it when we realized that our season wasn't going to lead us into postseason or anything like that. Is that this season is about finding out who Will Levis is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want him to start. I don't want any questioning in the off season whether he is the guy or not. I don't want people to be like, oh, well, he didn't get to play for this, and this game. So, or maybe he learned, no, no. I want him to play. I want him to play extensively through the rest of the season so we can say concisely at the end of the game that it's either the guy or not the guy. And I'll be honest with you, unless he just has absolutely amazing stellar play for the rest of the season, and I still don't know if I would trust him even after that, but he would have to do something like that to regain my trust, because he's lost my trust. And I feel like he's lost the organization's trust as well. So I feel like that is really the bottom line right there. And can he figure out a way to gain his players and his coaches' trust back so that he can remain the starter in the next season?
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, you said it right there. Even if he comes out, what I don't want to see, like, let's say he comes out, throws for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception, like has a solid, good NFL quarterback game. I don't want to see people coming out saying, "I told you so. This is the guy. This is who we need to stick." Like, I need to see it consistently. I need to see it 2 to 3 games in a row. I mean, heck, at this point, I need to see it for the rest of the season to even
Yes.
think about trusting him. So, I mean, you said it right there. It's not about one game. It's not about one performance. It's not about one post game speech. Like, I want to see it all season long. I want to see that you can come out here and do it on a consistent basis, because that's what the good quarterbacks do. And that's
Yeah,
the thing with
man.
Rudolph. I mean, Rudolph isn't perfect. He's not great, but he's consistent. You know what you're getting when you go
Yep.
into a game with Mason Rudolph. You're gonna get some good passes. You're gonna get some bad passes. You might get an interception, but you're not gonna get the crazy. Well, granted, we saw him kind of do one Levis thing during the game, but on a pretty consistent basis, you know what you're going to get from Mason Rudolph. When Will Levis is in the game, you might as well just roll a dice of what the next thing is that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like when he makes one of those mistakes, like when you see Mason make one of those mistakes, you see the conservative come out in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't want to throw that deep ball anymore. He only wants to throw the short to intermediate passes that he knows he can hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because he's got a little bit of fear that, oh God, I don't want to hit that quicksand. And Will Levis doesn't have that meter. I mean, like, he'll throw an interception and then go right back into the game, do the exact same thing again.
Yep.
That's the stuff we got to see stop. We got to see that he's learning or developing in some way. If not, like I said, he's not the dude.
Yep.
But I want to find that out. And that's what this season's all about. And that's why he has to start.
Well, and you have to put a little bit of onus on the coaching staff too, because I think Carthon and Amy are looking at this coaching staff saying, "Hey, we may very well be bringing in another young quarterback. We want to see how much you can develop him." Now, obviously, he hopefully will not have the same tendencies as Levis and the same attitudes as Levis, but I mean, now you're looking at the coaching staff saying, "We want to see what you can do with this guy before we give you a raw 19, 20-year-old in here that you're going to be having to develop." So, yes, it's about Levis, but I think this season has also shifted to seeing, okay, how much can Callahan accomplish with this guy? How much of this stuff can he coach out of a young player so that when we do bring in whoever the next guy is, or do we trust that this is the guy who's going to develop him?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, that is a true test for Callahan because
Mhm.
Levis has the hubris that just makes it almost impossible to coach.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that is a very good point, Link. Everybody needs to check that. That is a great point. Callahan has to coach some of these bad tendencies out of him, and how much can he coach out of him before the end of the season? That's a great point. See what we can develop because we have to develop a young
Yeah.
quarterback. We have
Exactly.
to. And I mean, like, it's not just us. It's not just Tennessee Titans. It's a problem across the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, and I'll say too. I mean, not to get into college too much, I think NIL is going to help that a little bit because you're going to get some of these players stay in college a little bit longer
That's it.
because they're making money, and I think that's going to be a big part of it. But for right now, you look around the league. I mean, Bryce Young is a perfect example. I mean, top pick coming out. He was supposed to be the next great, did some great things at Alabama, and then he gets to the Panthers, and I don't know who let who down
Mhm.
more, but it just did not pan out. And then on the flip side, you have CJ Stroud, not the first pick overall, but he was a guy who had talent coming out. They were able to do the right things, put talent around him, and now he's one of the better players, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's just, you look at the Browns organization, how many quarterbacks they failed on who could have been good. And then you have guys like Sam Darnold who are now getting a second chance. So, I mean, it's definitely a trend around the league that we've seen some guys develop properly, and then on the flip side, not develop properly. And it's sad because you waste a lot of talent, you waste draft picks, you waste resources, you waste time, and you end up wasting seasons like we're seeing with Will Levis. So yeah, I mean that's an important part of it, but I do think some of that kind of works itself out because now you're like I'm hearing reports around the league that it was possible that Arch Manning was gonna he may be staying a little longer at Texas
Mhm.
because he's having NFL scouts tell him, look, most people want to see you start for 2 full years. I mean, that's what these NFL teams are going to be looking for now. They want seniors, they want guys who have double touchdown to interception ratio. I mean, they want experience coming out in the draft now. So hopefully that solves itself. But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's why it's so curious to see which directions the Titans go this year. I'm just obviously a lot's going to happen between the draft and now. I just really want to see where the headspace of this organization's at and what they want to do next.
Yeah, look, man. Yeah, Derek, you said it, man. But this is the thing, though. We want to change. We want to change. We're Titans fans. I think all the Titans fans want the change. We all want to be that exciting football team that everybody wants to talk about, that, some things are going on. Got a new stadium got a new flashy coach. We got a new flashy GM. We got a lot of young players coming in. We're going to be definitely picking a lot of players up that are young. Uh, Basically, anybody who's over 27 we're not interested in them right now because we're rebuilding. So, yeah, we do want a trend. And, as far as Levis is coming back, look, we've talked about, I think we've pretty much covered everything we can talk about Levis coming back, but it definitely is on the coach. And I mean, it's some on the coach and some on Levis, but, I feel like the coach has a more of a responsibility to actually prove that even if he's dealing with a high ego guy, that he can coach some of these things out. And I
Well, and if
think
I no,
that's the
go ahead.
thing.
I'm sorry. Well,
No.
I was going to say if that's the case, and I agree with you, what I don't want to see is let's say Levis starts, which I expect to happen. What I don't want to see is a heavy dose of running early. I want to see the play opened up. I don't want to see any doubt. I mean, yeah, people say the talent's there. I don't know if you're talking about Levis, but prove it. I mean, prove it. Come out, throw the ball, air it out, go vertical. I mean, do what you said you were going to do going into this season. I mean, this was packaged as a passing attack. We're going to move the chains. We're going to put the ball in the air. We're going to build the run off the pass. Like, we're going to change what we do as an offense in Tennessee. And so far, I've just seen the same thing, swapping Tony Pollard for Derrick Henry. I mean, that's essentially what we've got right now. I mean, you're seeing a heavy dose of run. I still don't think this offense has an identity. I absolutely don't think they have an identity. They're just a heavy running football team. That needs to change. If you're going to put Levis back in the game, open up the playbook. I mean, screens are fine here and there, but I want to see the ball move downfield. And if he throws an interception, if he gives the ball up, guess what? You're 2-6. It doesn't matter anyway. But don't leave any doubt in my mind coming out of a football game that I don't know. I don't know one way or another on Levis. That's not where I want to be at. I want to say definitively at the end of the game, he had a good game or he had a bad game. That's what I need.
Well, and that's really the frustrating part about Levis. And again, on Callahan to see if he can coach some of these things out, but he does not hit the short to intermediate pass game very well. He has that rocket arm and he thinks that he has to put like 90-mile-an-hour on every ball, and it just doesn't work out in the short game. And Callahan is pretty set on the fact that we're going to use screen passes, roll out different things all around the line of scrimmage. A lot of players talk about these small pass games where you are, gain 3, 4, 7 yards on the outside. That is basically a run play. So it's the same exact thing, and he's trying to mimic it. So I understand what he's trying to do. But Levis really isn't that guy. Isn't the guy that can take touch off his passes. So
But he has been. That's my issue. Is he has been. He was last year. I mean, last year we saw him put balls in buckets. I mean, the dude was dropped. Now, granted, he had a few plays that should have been interceptions, but that's the frustrating part is we've seen him do it. It's not like we threw him in at the beginning of the season and it's like, oh, we don't know what we're going to get. We've seen him make these throws. We've seen him make the lobs. We've seen him make it in tight windows. We've seen him make it on the sidelines. Like, we've seen him do it. We've absolutely seen him do it. And all I've seen starting from this year is regression. And I'm hoping that's not on the coaching staff. I speak about it every week. I hope that's not on the coaching staff, the fact and the reason he is regressing, but that's all I've seen. My issue is we've seen him do it before in a worse offense than what you have now from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, man. And to be honest, I could sit here and kick on Will Levis all day, man. There's so much out there. The daily memes, the weekly memes, I guess. Just the chip on his shoulder that he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips and he came from freaking Kentucky. I mean, there is a million things that you can knock on Will Levis. And I can't really defend him on any of them. But yes, you're correct, Derek. Last year we had a much simpler offense. And my wife said it best. Because she, after about 3 or 4 games before she told me she was going to stop harping on me about this, but she told me if you had Derrick Henry still on your team, you would win 3 or 4 more games. And she was absolutely right. If we had Derrick Henry right now, we'd probably be 5-3 instead of 2-6. Because Derrick Henry is gonna get you a couple games win just based on field position and field goals. Derrick Henry's gonna get you that, where maybe Tony Pollard doesn't. But don't have that. Don't have the king anymore. It's gone. And we are trying to be a line of scrimmage game. And the offensive line has actually improved dramatically over the season.
Yeah.
I've been arguing this with a lot of people online.
Well, they've
They don't
improved since
see
last
any.
year too.
I was going to say they don't see any improvement from the beginning of the season to now, and I'm like, how? I mean, if you, I'm not trying to insult people. I'm just saying there is definite improvement on our offensive line. They are playing much better, even with the injuries and people sliding in and out. They're still playing better. Now, I'm not sure how much it'll be better next week with Brunskill and, well, I don't know if he's going to be playing Raiden's part or whatever. Anyway, the point is that they are playing better. But as far as the Will Levis thing goes, and the way that the package is done, I agree with you that the playbook needs to be open, just like it was with Mason in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
They need to let him have all facets of it. And like you said, it's very frustrating to see him hit those 45-yard bombs and drop it right on, just a dime right in the bucket. But
Mm-hmm.
this year he throws 20 yards off, either too high or too low, and it's intercepted. And it's just sad. And yeah, I'd like to see him correct that stuff. But I don't know exactly what the coaching strategy is for correcting something like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's all you can say about it. I mean, we're right back. I mean, I don't want people to get comfortable because let's not forget, we've had the last few games with Mason. We've went in, we've got what we expected. We saw him move the ball downfield a little bit, but let's remember we were all pulling our hair out when Will Levis was in the last games and he was throwing the ball backwards and trying to throw out of sacks and just put the ball into windows he should never put it in and pick sixes. Like, just as Titans fans, I'm not being negative. I'm just saying prepare yourself. Like, let's not forget the last time Will Levis was in these games. Just prepare yourself.
Yeah, you ain't being negative. You're being real, man. So as far as being real, well, I don't know about real. Let's talk about bold predictions. Bold predictions. So my bold prediction for this week on offense. Oh my God. I don't know if this is really a bold prediction or just wishful thinking. Will Levis is going to have better numbers than Mason Rudolph did last week.
Oh gosh, didn't he throw for two?
He
I
did
gotta look
well.
this up.
Yeah, he had a 90.5 rating. I think he had 260 something yards. I think he only had one touchdown though. He might have had two.
I have got it 20 of 33, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and only 1 sack with a 90.5 rating. So
Yep.
when you say better, we talking completion percentage, yardage, touchdown interception ratio. Like, what are you just eye test? He's just going to come in, make the right throws, do the right things.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep. I feel like in this game, particularly coming back, like I said, I don't know if it's just wishful thinking or my optimism.
I mean, it's definitely bold. I'll give you that one.
But I feel like he's going to come in and go, "Hey, look, man, I get it. I get it. It took me a minute. I had to sit on the bench for a minute and realize what it was, but I get it. Here we go. Let's go."
All right. I would say my bold prediction. Gosh, that's really tough. I do expect the interior of the defensive line to get pressure. I do think Arden Key continues to show up. I think this is a multiple sack game. I think the defense comes out and does what we expect the defense to do every week. I'm going to be curious to see how the back end holds up at the safety position and at the quarters. But as far as the defensive line, I think they're going to have a pretty good game. So we'll say I'll go 3 sacks. 3 sacks, maybe a turnover. I don't know that we win the turnover battle, but I will say 3 sacks and maybe a turnover tossed in there somewhere. I think it's a pretty good game for the defense.
I agree. Actually, my bold prediction for the defense was it finally all comes together on the D line and they pressure Hubert all day long.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like that's yeah. Sweet.
Well, and it's going to be a battle too because if you haven't watched any of their games, they've got a guy Scott Matlock. I think he played at Boise State, but he was basically an all-American defensive tackle. He now plays fullback for this team. They like to use him with J.K. Dobbins. They'll put him in there, and he's kind of that run first blocker. So I expect Simmons and Sweat to get a pretty heavy dose of that. up the middle. So we'll see who wins that battle. I'm really curious to see who wins that, and it's going to take this line coming together to be able to stop this run game. So it's gonna be one to watch right there.
Yeah, I agree. And Derek, let us have our fun, man. Don't be raining on our parade, man. Don't be doing that. And I
Look,
know, I agree. We're on their field. We're at SoFi, but I don't care.
they don't
I
have
don't,
fans though. I mean, there's not actually their fans don't exist. Nobody cares about the
bro.
LA
Are you
Chargers.
kidding? Right now on Vivid Seats, they have tickets. Now, agreed, they are the nosebleeds. $12.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Now, the Titans do suck. Don't get me wrong. But there hasn't been one game this year that I could see for $12
No.
at Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, ever since the Chargers moved out of San Diego, I mean, it's kind of. I don't know that they actually have real fans in LA, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the turnout is. But look, every game in the NFL every week is winnable. I mean, we just saw the Panthers win a game. The Titans just beat the
Oh my
Patriots in a
God.
overtime thriller. Like, I mean, every
Overtime
game
thriller.
left on the schedule is quote unquote winnable. I don't think they're favored. I think it's kind of a long shot, but look, they play teams close because of their style of play. The defense
Mm-hmm.
shows up. They can hold offenses to pretty reasonable yardages. It's going to be up to the special teams to just do what they're supposed to do, and then the offense has to generate points. But I will say, going into the Detroit game, going into a lot of these games this year, I thought you had to put up 30 points, 34 points to have a chance. You can beat this Chargers team with 20 to 24 points. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's definitely doable. You just got to do it. So is it winnable? Absolutely. You just have to do the right things.
I like Joseph's idea here. Tajay comes back with a rushing and receiving touchdown. That's a nice, bold take, man, and I like it. I like that. Coming off 2-week injury, comes back with a touchdown on receiving and rushing. That would be friggin' sweet. All right, score predictions. You want to go or you want me to go? I don't care, man.
You take this one first.
All right. Well, I think the Titans, like I said, I took the over. So I clearly think we're going to score more than 38.5 points between the two of us. I have the Titans scoring 24 points in this game.
How many?
24.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. Let's see. I think this is more of my optimist coming out. Plus, I think I already had like a beer and a half by the time I wrote this part of the show. So, there's that too. Chargers score 27, though. In an unfortunate turn of events where our defense gets taken advantage of one more time. They stand up strong, but they can't hang with the lack of special teams and offensive turnovers that lead to points. So I feel like 24 Titans, 27 Chargers, huge scoring game, but we still lose.
I will go. Gosh, I kind of wanted the Titans in this one. I tried to talk myself into
I
it.
know, me too.
I look. You have to take into account too. I mean, they're traveling across the country. You're going to the West Coast. There's something to be said for that as a player. I've got Chargers 23, Titans 17. I think they have a chance, and I say that because I think they have a chance to get it done. I think you might see another one of those Levis 2-minute drills, gets the ball in the fourth quarter, has a chance to go score the winning touchdown. At the end of the day, I just don't think he's capable of doing it. And I hate to say that right now, and I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he gets the ball in his hands and he's able to find a way to win a game. But until I see it, I've got Chargers 23, Titans 17.
All right. Well, guys, I'd sure like your ideas better. I would love for the Titans to win 24-13 or 28-24. Either way, that would be super sweet. I see, 1 under, 1 over. So again, would be super sweet. Anything you want to? Think we're going to wrap this up. Anything you got for the closing statements of this fine pregame show we put together for these folks?
No, just stay with us. Definitely keep with us for all the exciting stuff we have coming up. Anything that breaks, we're going to let y'all know. I'm glad that you let us into your house and make us your go-to for the Titans podcast. So thank you for all that you guys do. I know we don't say that enough, but just stay with us and can't wait to talk to you about the post game on this one.
Absolutely. We absolutely love it. We do it for you guys. I mean, I'll be honest,
Absolutely.
that and the fact that my wife got tired of me talking about football all the time, but it just made it worse. But yeah, man, if you guys do watch us, we thank you. We appreciate everything. Come check us out. Subscribe on YouTube if you got it, because we do put some exclusive videos out on YouTube. And I'm trying, a couple things of comedy on the channel. So if you see something that looks completely BS, it probably is. It's meant to be funny. And someone didn't get my sarcasm, but it's okay. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And if you stuck with us, thank you. It is nasty work being a Titans fan, but again, thank you for being with us.
We'll get through it together.
Yes, we absolutely will. That's what we're here for, man. That and alcohol will get us to the end. Until next time.
Tighten up.
Tighten up. Peace out.